Good afternoon, and welcome to Microsoft 101. Today we will be focusing on Word, which is the first of three classes that we'll be doing over the next 3 months. My name is Trey Gwynn. I'm I've forgotten my title all of a sudden. I'm the Technology and Outreach Coordinator for the Rutherford County Library System, and I will be walking you through some Microsoft basics today. Now, first of all, let's talk about what Microsoft Word is. It is the most popular word processing software being used today. There are others. Don't let its ubiquity make you think that it is the only one that's available, but there are others. In fact, some of the others are free, and we talk about those in some of our other classes. So if you're interested in free alternatives to Word, keep an eye out for basic word processors, which is one of the classes that we offer occasionally. Word processors are essentially like digital typewriters. I know that that's a little bit reductive, but if you think about it, they offer you a blank sheet of paper, and you can then type on it. Now, you can do way more than that, but at its most basic level, that is what a typewriter is, or that is what a word processor is. They allow for the benefits, though, of something like a word processor as opposed to a typewriter, are the ability to easily change errors, changing fonts, copying and pasting, and inserting pictures, and a million other benefits. And we'll talk about some of those today. Today we're going to learn the basics of typing, saving, printing documents, and more than just that. But the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step, and that is where we're going to start. How do we get started with Microsoft Word? Now, the first thing you got to do is open the program. Now, if you have Microsoft Word on your computer, in fact, I'm going to go back a slide. That picture that you're seeing on the screen is the symbol that you're looking for. That is the icon that you will double click, and it will open Microsoft Word. That is what you're looking for. So that's literally how you get started. But once you've opened the program, the first thing that you'll see is what I've got on the screen for you right now, which is a list of options to choose from. Now, the very first option, and it will always be the very first option, is the ability to open a blank document. So if you click on that first option, it will make a blank document. Now, in a little while, we're going to come back to this screen, and we're going to talk about how to use the templates that they have built in. But that is one of the benefits of Microsoft Word, is that they give you some templates, some pre-made templates that will give you the opportunity to make things, fill in things that are already made, like resumes and stuff like that. Again, we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. Now, if you've ever been in one of my classes, either physical or virtual, one of the things that I like to do is do an anatomy slide, an anatomy of the program that we're talking about. And of course, today that is Microsoft Word. Now, this represented on your screen is the basic Microsoft Word screen. Once you hit blank document, which is that first option when you open it, this is what you're going to see. Now, some of the highlights that I want to touch on are the Save button in the upper left-hand corner. Those of you that are older than, let's say, 20 will recognize what that Save button looks like. It looks like a floppy disk, specifically a 3.5 millimeter floppy disk. Weird tangent of the day. Anytime that you have a design element that is based on outdated technology, that is called a skeuomorphism. So there you go. If you don't learn anything about Word, at least you've learned a word. Boy, it's almost like I wrote that. Although, as cheesy as it is, even I wouldn't have written that on purpose. Just below the save button, you have what's called the ribbon. It's where I've got that arrow pointing that says tools. Excuse me, I'm just gonna get comfortable. That area. Hold on, let me see if I can get my. Where's my? I guess not. Okay, well. Oh, here we go. So there's my cursor. You can see that on the screen. This long strip right here is what's called the ribbon. That will be very important to us in this class and in the other two classes. All three of the programs that we're going to look at in Microsoft Office 101 is which are Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. All three are built around the use of the ribbon, which is that row of tools and options and that kind of thing. And we'll talk about it more here in a minute. And then, of course, above that you have the tabs, which change what is available on the ribbon. So literally everything that you can do in Word is stored up in that ribbon, and the tabs are what they use to categorize the various things that the ribbons that can be done through the ribbon. Then over here you have the help button, which would take you to an online manual for Word. So that will be useful if you have relatively simple questions. Anything beyond that, it would have a little bit of trouble answering. Now, maybe the thing that makes Microsoft Word the most powerful, and I'm exaggerating a little bit, but still it is a very useful. Hold on, hello. Oh, sorry. My my program was frozen there for a second. My apologies for the technical difficulties. So one of the things that makes Microsoft Word as useful as it is the fact that you can fix your mistakes. So at any time, up in the top left corner, there are the undo and redo buttons. You can use those to undo something you just did, or to redo something you just undid. So think about everything as you're working in a Microsoft Word document. Think of everything that you're doing in the form of a timeline, right? And so if you want to go back one step on the timeline, you can undo. If you want to go forward one step on the timeline, you can redo. But you can't do anything that is, one, outside of the timeline, or two, undo is not a good option for something that you did 40 minutes ago and there were 100 changes between now and then. So like the best example I can think of is if you accidentally deleted something and you want it back, undo is perfect for that. If you are proofreading what you've just written and there's a typo, undo is not right for that. For that, you should just click into what you're reading and change it. Now, the main thing that Microsoft Word is used for is typing. You can do a lot more, as I keep alluding. You can do way more than that with Microsoft Word. But it is built to be a place where you can type. You just click into the blank sheet of paper that it has there, and you start typing, and it will it will show up just like the image that I'm showing on the screen. Now, what's great about Microsoft Office or Microsoft Word is that unlike your typewriters or writing something by hand, once you've written it, you can change it around. And that's one of the first things that we're going to cover in this class. Once you've written something, you can actually go in, select it all. You can do that by either holding the Shift button down and using the arrow keys to select everything, or you can click on the left-hand button of your mouse and drag the mouse over what you've written, and it will select it all. Once you've done that, you can actually change the font size, the font style. You can change you can change a whole bunch of different stuff. But let's start with font and text size. Now hold on one second. Let me actually, let's do this. Yes. Okay. I've got my handy dandy Microsoft Office open here. You'll see this menu right here. This menu right here is everything that you need to know when it comes to changing your fonts and doing different things with them. I'm gonna run down them in order, and then we will come back to a few of them just to go into more detail. So first, this option is to change your font. You can click on that little down arrow, and it will allow you to change the font to something else. Let me make sure. Yeah, okay, good. This is the font size. You can click that down arrow to change the font size. Or, if you wanted, you can click these two buttons, which is the up one and down one button. So increase font size, decrease font size. So if you've got something that you know it's close to where you want it to be, but you kind of want to slightly adjust it, you can use these two buttons. This button changes the case of what you've written, what you have selected. So say you have something that you want it to be in like sentence case, you can click on this and it'll capitalize the first letter of the sentence, that kind of thing. This will make it bold. This will make it italicized. This will make it underlined. This will make it struck through. This does subscript. This does superscript. And these are all changing the color and stuff like that. And we'll talk about that here in just a minute. Oh. 1 second. Okay. Well. If you want to change the color of your font, you need to select it just like you selected it to change the font style and font size. And then you need to go back to that area that we were talking about just a minute ago, which is, one moment, boop, here we are. So you'll see these are your options for changing the color. This does a highlight, this changes the actual text color, and this actually does word art. So like if you were to type something in, it actually gives you some pre-made, pretty looking ways to change whatever you've typed in. The Microsoft has worked really hard to take Microsoft Word and automate as much of it as possible, and that makes it that benefits you because it makes it easier to do the things that you want to do. We talked about this a moment ago, but you can make your font bold or italicized or underlined. All you have to do is select it and then go back to those buttons that I was showing you earlier. The underline button actually has a little drop-down menu next to it that allows you to change the shape and color of the underline. And you can actually have you can use all of the various buttons at the same time. So like just because you've bolded something doesn't mean you can't italicize or underline it. You can do all of them. Now it'll make it harder to read, but you can do all of them. Now, one of my favorite things that Microsoft Word can do is it can actually make a bullet pointed or numbered list for you. The first 3 drop-down menus in the paragraph section let you format bulleted or numbered lists. You can click on the type of list you want. You can start typing, and every time you hit enter, it'll make a new bullet point. Or you can take a list that you've already written, select it, and then go up and choose the numbered the bullet pointed list options at the top. In fact, here, let me just show you that here, this area that I have just highlighted, these are your buttons that let you do bullet pointed or numbered lists. And in fact, in Microsoft Office, in Microsoft Word, I keep doing that, I'm sorry, it actually gives you the option, a third option, which is you've got the bullet pointed list, you've got the numbered list, and then you have a multi-level list, so like an outline list. You can also change the alignment of your text. So text alignment refers to which part of the page the text originates from. The body text of most documents is aligned to the left. Titles are usually center aligned. Headings and page numbers are usually right aligned. Justified text is distributed evenly through the margins. One moment. Sorry about that. I'm back. Let me pull up. Let's see the alignment buttons are underneath those bullet pointed list buttons that we were talking about earlier. So just below those bullet pointed lists, you've got left align, you've got center, you've got right align, and then you've got justify, which kind of, like I said, just it distributes evenly between both margins. So if you have a line, if you have a sentence or something in a paragraph that's completely messing up your alignment, you could use justify and it'll spread it out, and that way it'll well, I'm not going to say it'll fix your alignment. It might mess it up more, but it's at least an option if you're having some issues. Similarly, you can actually mess with the line spacing as well. You can change how much space is between each of the lines of your document. Now, Word defaults to a single space, but you can change this by clicking on the line spacing drop-down menu that I'm going to show you here in just a minute. And you can choose one of the other options. You can also choose to add extra space between paragraphs, or to remove the extra space between paragraphs that Word automatically installs. And in fact, I just noticed that I'm not showing you the slide that I'm looking at. So this is the slide. Take a moment to look at it, and then I'll show you where all that stuff is on Microsoft Word. I apologize for that. So there's the slide. Here is Microsoft Word, and this is the button that we're talking about. So the line and paragraph spacing. Now I can click on that, and it's not going to show up and show you, but I'm just going to tell you that if I click on that, or if you click on that at home, it will open up a bunch of different options. So, like, for example, I don't know if you remember when you were in like high school or college. Do they do that in college? Yeah, they'll ask you to do it like a double-spaced essay or something like that. this is where you would do that. You would go in and change it to 2.0, right? But the default is 1.0. So that's where those options are, and it's, you just click on the line spacing button with the little down arrow. Whoops. We're not ready for questions. Sorry about that. The next thing that we're going to do, we're going to step it up a level. We're going to start doing some other interesting stuff, and we're going to start by inserting and formatting pictures. Now, the great thing, I keep talking about how Microsoft Word it's like if you took a typewriter and you made it, you made it digital, but it has gone so far beyond that, right? And one of the things you can do is you can insert a photo that you have saved on your computer by clicking on the Insert tab and then Pictures. Now, if you were paying attention at the beginning of class, that means that we're going to go mess with the ribbon. Does anybody remember the ribbon? So here is, let me make sure that we're centered because I want everybody to see what we're talking about. Hold on one second. There we go. Here we go. So now we're centered on where I'm going to be talking about. But remember, this is the ribbon, and everything that Microsoft Word can do can be found in the ribbon. It just depends on where you're looking in the tabs. So because we want to insert a picture, we're going to click on the Insert button. Click on the Insert button, and it brings up this menu. It changes everything that was in the ribbon to different stuff that has to do with inserting things, like inserting a page break, inserting a table, inserting a chart. One of the very first options there, though, you'll notice, sorry about that, is to insert a picture. Now, we actually have a couple of different options when it comes to inserting a picture. You can insert a picture, this picture right here, this button right here will let you insert pictures that were on, it'll let you insert pictures that are already on your computer. So if I were to click on that, you wouldn't be able to see it because of the streaming software. But if I were to click on that, it would actually bring up a dialog box that lets me choose stuff that's already on the computer, right? Or similarly, I could click on online pictures, and that will bring up a dialog box that shows me some search engines, so I could search for the right picture. So like, say I wanted to put flowers in, right? I don't have any saved flower images on my computer. So instead, what I would do is I would click on online pictures and I would type in flowers, and it would take me into essentially a Google image search. And then I could choose one of those pictures and put it into my document. Let's see. Let me pull up this. Now, once you have something inserted into your document, you can drag any of the white circles around the perimeter to resize it. So you just click on the little circle and drag it, and it will change sizes. The circular arrow at the top of the picture will let you rotate it. And then if you click on the box on the bottom of the picture, it will position within text. Now, what that means is that when you insert a picture into your Word document, it goes in with the default instruction to make the text move around it. But you have lots of other options. You can make the text move through it. I don't know why you'd want to do that. Maybe if you had an opaque picture, you can make the text wrap around it, like maybe you're making a newsletter or something. But if you click on that box, it will give you a bunch of different options, and it comes with little pictograms that let you know what each one does. I mean, it says what they do, but also it has the pictograms, which is nice. Now, you can also change the margins on these on your documents. Now, when you open a new document, it has a specific margin set that are kind of just the standard margins, right? But if you want to if you want to make the margin smaller or wider, you can do that going into the layout tab. So I'm going to go back to this real quick. See the layout tab? It's 2 down from insert. And then you can click on the margins menu. Hold on one moment. I'll actually show you that menu. Here's layouts, and I actually probably need to. No. Okay, good. Margins is right there. And you have a bunch of different options. Just keep in mind, it's important to keep in mind that margins can sometimes determine what is printed, and not all printers can print to every margin size. So it's important that you keep in mind, what your printer can handle if you plan on printing something. If it's going to stay a digital document, it doesn't matter what the margins are, and you can make them as small as you want. You can also change in the layout tab the page orientation. So you can change it from being portrait, which is the standard, to horizontal, to landscape, which is a horizontal. You can change the page orientation by clicking on the layout tab, then on the orientation menu, and it's really just, you have 2 options. You have either portrait or landscape. So for example, say you were printing out a picture and you wanted, and it fit better with the page being, turned over on its side. You would want to go into landscape. That's where those names come from, right? Landscape pictures tend to be, a rectangle with its top and bottom longer than its sides, and portraits tend to be the opposite. You can also make columns. Columns fit the text into a page like a newspaper. They also make text easier to read due to the shorter lines. So you can format text you have already typed into columns. So you can just select the text you've already written, highlight the text, then click on the layout tab, and then on the columns menu. Choose the number of columns you want, and Word will automatically guide your text into the columns. It'll do it for you automatically. So again, say you're working on a newsletter or, self-publishing a newspaper. I don't know why you'd want columns, but it is true that it does in some ways make it easier to read. Now, I hinted at this earlier, but now we're going to talk about templates. Templates allow you to create complex and professional looking documents without doing all of the work yourself. Now, when you open up Word, it gives you the option to make a blank document, or it lays out a whole bunch of different templates. So there are templates for newsletters, for flyers, for resumes, and everything else. We do a lot of work with people here at the library. We do a lot of work with people working on their resume. And one of the first things that I'll say is to just take your information, put it into one of their resume templates, change the colors on it, customize it however you want, but it's so much easier than starting from scratch. Even if you change it completely, it's so much easier than starting from scratch. So to open a template, you click on File, then New, and then you choose the template. You can search for templates to quickly find the one that you need. Once you have opened a template, so for example, let's say you're opening a template for a resume, it is just a well-designed document that has placeholders for all the names. It'll instead of having Trey Gwynn in it, for me, it would say your name. The words, your name, and you just highlight that, delete it, and put in your name. In fact, here I can show you what that kind of looks like. So you click on the template to preview it. If you like it, you can click create. When the template opens, you will see what I have, something like what I have here. You just go to each field and type in your own text. and they'll even help you, like the stuff that they've got filled in will even help you make sure that you get all the information that you need to put in. So again, when I'm working with someone that's working on their resume, unless they just have an impeccable resume already, I will always tell them to pull up Microsoft Word and take a look at their templates, and then it should be pretty easy for them to go in and put in their information. Now, one of the most important things that you need to know when you're working in Word or any other of these, of the Microsoft Office stuff that we're going to talk about over the next 2 or 3 weeks or 2 or 3 months is saving your documents. It's important to save your work early and often, especially if you're working on a big project. The worst feeling in the world is to have worked on something and then close it or have your computer crash or something and you haven't saved it. So to save, you click on File, then Save As. This will let you choose where on your computer you want something saved, and you will be able to choose a name for how it's saved. Now, once you've done that, what's great is you can just periodically click on the Save button that I showed you at the very beginning of class, which is up in the top left-hand corner. It's it looks like a floppy disk. Or you can hit Control S. Control S is the key command for save. And once you've saved something and given it a name, all you have to do is hit Control S. It won't bring up any other menus. It just saves it, and you don't have to worry about it. And that way it'll always be protected and saved. Then, once you have finished what you're working on, if you need a physical copy of it, you can print it. You just click on File and then click Print, and it'll open up a window with a bunch of different printing options. Of course, some of that will be dictated by the computer by the printer that you're printing to. But it does give you a preview that lets you see exactly how your document should look once it's been printed. And then when you're ready, you just click on the box that says Print. Now, I will go ahead and tell you that if one of the ways that you can get that process started is instead of clicking File and then clicking Print, you could just hit Control P. Control P is the key command for printing, and it will bring up those same dialog boxes without you having to go through all the different menus for File and Print. Now that brings us to the end of Microsoft Office 101 Word. We will pick back up next month. Hold on, I can even tell you the actual date. Give me 1 second. We will pick up in February on February 22nd. And March 22nd. So February 22nd will be Excel. March 22nd will be PowerPoint. So keep an eye on the Rutherford County Facebook page and the Rutherford County Library System calendar. If you need to reach me, you can reach me at tgwin@rclstn.org. In fact, hold on 1 second. I will just put that on the screen. Whoops. There we go. There we go. Okay. If you need to reach me and have any questions, you can email me at tgwin@rclstn.org. Now, I thought that would be a lot easier than it actually was. My mistake. And I hope to see you